Hello, bonjour. I'm Sarah Bukhari, and you're watching Power Dilemma here at TAG TV. Doug Ford's PCs and Andrea Horwath's New Democrats are effectively tied, with polls either showing the PCs narrowly ahead or the NDP narrowly ahead. Exactly what one should expect in such a scenario. But despite the close margin in the popular vote, the PCs still have a better regional distribution of that vote and so are favored to win more seats. Though the odds of the NDP winning the most seats is better than 1 in 6 or roll of a die. The Liberals might have hit a floor in their support, but if they haven't, they could find themselves shut out. Today at Power Dilemma, the stage is set to have a productive debate between the NDPs and the PCs. And let's see who is going to win. And let's have a projection, which is from the poll tracker. And it says that it's 75.1% probability of the Progressive Conservatives winning a majority, 8.3% probability of the Progressive Conservatives winning the most seats, but not a majority, 10.4% probability of the NDP winning a majority, 5.1% probability of the NDP winning the most seats, but not a majority. So we have in our studios Mr. Ali Naqvi, who is a political strategist, and we have on the phone Mr. Ari Laskin from Capitol Hill Group. We are going to have a debate geared towards who is going to get the win on June the 7th. So both of my worthy guests, welcome to my show.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we are going to start with Mr. Ari Laskin. And my question to you, Ari, is do you think the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario will get the win on June the 7th? And why do you think so?
Well, thanks very much, Sarah. I do think that the PCs have probably the best shot at getting the win on the 7th. If you look at how the seats are being distributed, Ms. Horwath's vote concentration is, as I said just now, is very concentrated in a number of seats that are in a very small geographic area. I know that my friend on the other side of the table there will probably say, well, that's not true. She has widespread support. But I think if you're looking at every single poll that's come out until, I guess it would be yesterday's Polaris poll, shows that the Tories are looking at about 66 seats in the legislature. That's majority territory. For the NDP to really pull themselves up there, they need to spread their word, and they need to make sure that they get a wide support right across the province. Popular support is one thing, but we live in a first-past-the-post system where it matters as to how many seats you get in the legislature.
Okay, so that was Ari's take. What do you think, Mr. Naqvi?
Sarah, first of all, thank you for inviting me. It's an honor. Mr. Laskin, good afternoon to you as well. First of all, I'm not a fan of polls. I think polls are entertaining. Polls do build up a little momentum here and there. However, there are two things that really give you a real picture. I don't know if Mr. Laskin knocked doors for his or her his candidates for PC or other parties, but I do. So the reaction you get at the door, that's a real one-to-one reaction. And I knocked doors at several of the ridings in GTA and out of GTA. And the reaction I'm getting is that A, people have decided that they are going to change the government. B, they're looking at who to replace with the current government. So one thing that is, I shouldn't say for sure, but almost certain, is that we will have a new government of another party with a new premier on June the 7th, the night of June the 7th. The other thing that we are waiting for are the poll results on June the 7th. So relying too much on the polls, we New Democrats know how to lose. In October 2015, when I was a candidate, a month before the elections, we were doing at 40% in the national polls. So polls really don't matter. What matters is people coming out and voting. And we should not ever disrespect the voter. We should not ever disrespect by projecting a victory on numbers of seats and telling people so-and-so is winning, so you should go out and vote for them. This time around, the people are paying close attention to two things. One, the party platform. So we are yet to see a platform from the Progressive Conservatives, and the leadership. So they're looking at the leadership of Mr. Doug Ford, Andrea Horwath, and the platform of Ms. Horwath and the NDP. I would strongly recommend to anybody who supports the PCs that ensure that as soon as possible there's a platform out. And I'm being a citizen of Ontario with an open mind. People want to see costing of all the promises that Mr. Ford has made.
But I would like to make an introduction. Is a platform more important, or Mr. Naqvi, what do you have to say as far as the, these NDP candidates who are creating a bad image for the NDP by getting themselves involved in Hitler inspiration memes, talking about veterans as war criminals, and then talking about our police forces in a very wrong image. So what do you have to say on this?
Well, platform is the most important thing, and PCs don't have one.
So,
I would respectfully disagree with you on this.
The question is to me, do you have a platform, sir? Do you have a fully costed platform?
We do have a platform that has come out, and actually our platform that has come out has shown how much money is going to be spent in order to accomplish everything.
How can you say that there is a platform?
We're going to increase
we just have to go one by one.
So 1% by how much money? You haven't even come up with how much money you're going to be getting out of that. $900 billion that you're pledging for mental health over the course of 10 years? Please. The people of Ontario are smarter than this.
Do you have a platform? You can criticize the platform because we have one, sir. You don't have a platform.
Mr. Naqvi,
you can yell all you want.
Mr. Naqvi, just one by one, please.
The fact remains that Ford does not have a platform by a left-leaning government that has promised them the world. And now they're being duped again by Andrea Horwath saying that she has a costed platform. I'm sorry, sir. I've consulted economists. I've looked at your platform that you say that you have.
But unfortunately, I cannot look at yours because you don't have one, sir. You are starting according to your business proposal without a plan.
PC.ca and you'll see how our
platform so how come Mr. Ford is saying that soon there will be a platform?
We have to go one by one. And
I'm sorry, I was told that this is a debate and I can interject.
No, you can interject, but
thank you.
You can definitely interject, Mr. Naqvi, but we have to respect the quorum of the platform and give chance to each other. And once you're done talking, then we will give a chance to the other panelist. Moving forward.
But I want to answer your question, which I was not allowed to because I was interrupted.
Sure, Mr. Naqvi.
Okay, so you're talking about the candidates, and I'm not going to talk about the criminal allegations and the police investigations going on with the progressive conservative candidates.
Okay.
Okay. So as you know, that 407 data breach, and there are allegations that at least 20 of the PC candidates bought stolen property. So now let's come to the NDP candidates that you are making allegations against. None of these allegations break any laws of Ontario or Canada. None of them. Property breach, privacy breach, stealing data from 407 is an illegal charge. It's an offense. 20 of the candidates are under investigation for buying that stolen property. But I want to talk about your allegations. If somebody, number one, Taslim Riaz the candidate in Scarborough Agincourt who has been alleged with sharing a meme, and I'm not going to even take the name about what. Number one, has denied any knowledge of that. The Facebook has been, there's an investigation requested from through the Facebook. They're going to come up with an answer, and we are going to respond to that. And that's what Andrea Horwath said. Secondly, the most interesting thing is that Mr. Ford brought this out, and Ms. Wynne has followed Mr. Ford on it. So you can see the Lipcon alliance. But the day she did that, I lost all respect for that lady, because Ms. Taslim Riaz is a constituent of Ms. Kathleen Wynne. She personally knows Taslim Riaz. I have seen her saying hi Taslim in events. She knows that Taslim is an interfaith advocate. She knows that Taslim has been involved in Jewish, Muslim, Sikh, and other communities getting together and working on causes for the betterment of people both in Ontario and in Canada. And even knowing her personally and having her constituent as a constituent, she went again after her. Why did she do that? Why did she do that?
Because okay, no, we heard you. We've heard Ms. Andrea Horwath as well, who is totally siding with this candidate in Scarborough. What about the candidate in Brampton? One of the ridings in Brampton, who is taking placards saying not very polite things for our frontline workers, the police officers.
You know, this must be somebody advising the Conservatives and the Liberals that what you're doing, bringing these things out. This guy is now a rock star in the youth of Brampton East.
Are you saying he's a rock star?
Yes, because now these are the people who have been discriminated against on a daily basis, on the basis of the carding.
Mr. Naqvi, let Ari come in as well.
I need to interject here, Sarah. So I'm sorry. The fact that you have a candidate who's walking out there saying quite a derogatory statement towards our police services while the police are watching over this protest, to me is just blows my mind. You had somebody out there that put out a meme on Hitler, praising Hitler. Do you know how many steps are required to put something on Facebook like that? The fact that she's saying, well, she has no idea how it got there, the fact that she's putting out, well, somebody must have gotten into my Facebook, I'm sorry, sir, I don't buy that. You have a responsibility for your own social media.
Exactly, and you should have the responsibility for Doug Ford's candidates who are under police investigation.
Let him finish.
The fact that you're interrupting me is pretty indicative of the way that the NDP want to govern. They would rather have people hear them rather than hearing the actual people of Ontario.
We represent the actual people of Ontario. We represent the actual people of Ontario. You represent the 1%, we represent the 99%.
The people of Ontario. These are public servants, sir. They are there to serve the public, not vice versa. So the fact that you're going out there and saying, well, this is a rock star. Well, you know, your rock star
I'm not saying he's a rock star for me. I'm saying you have made him a rock star for all the people who have been discriminated against. So the fact that you're going and defending these candidates, to me, is quite telling as to the ideology and how the New Democratic Party of Ontario actually perceives Canada and the people of Ontario. We are nothing but jokes to you. Is that true? Because that's how you're treating us.
So, yeah, my question to you,
Mr. We take the people of Ontario much more seriously than a party who has responded is campaigning without a platform, have given us candidates where the leader of the party has been selling without charging the money their nominations. We have people who are buying stolen property and are under investigation by the police.
That was taken care of.
So are you saying that these people are guilty, sir?
No, not at all. Just one person has resigned, but the police investigation
that candidate is no more a PC candidate.
But there are at least 20 more who have bought the stolen property.
So where is Ms. Horvat's condemnation for somebody that posted a meme of Hitler? Somebody praising, if you don't like the rules, get into power and change them yourself. Well, you know, that to me strikes me as...
Like, why is it...
Okay, should we just go and storm the halls of Queen's Park and say to people, we don't like what you're doing, so we're just going to go and have a violent protest?
Yes.
Because that is exactly what you're doing. And let's talk about Andrea Horvath's plan to pay for Hydro.
The condemnation by the Jewish Circle of Toronto Danforth of Mr. Doug Ford's allegation? No, you can just easily...
So the public service union there is not only your Class B shareholder, but that's how you're planning on paying for your hydro missteps, is by taxing the people of Ontario and telling the public service, you don't need to worry about it, guys. We got you taken care of. What is Andrea going to do with the York University strike? Is she just going to wait and let students have their years lost? What about the
York
CP rail strike? Is this what we're looking forward to in the future of Ontario?
Well, I'm here to talk, and if one person is going to talk, then this is not a debate, and I'll go point by point. Number one, blaming somebody with anti-Semitism. So let me respond to that. And who am I to respond to that? The Jewish Circle of Toronto Danforth had condemned Mr. Ford and Ms. Wynne for this allegation against Taslim Riaz. A professor, a sociology professor and authority on anti-Semitism from Queen's University had sent an email, public email to media, Ms. Wynne and Doug Ford, condemning that allegation against Taslim Riaz.
Okay, I have a question.
You cannot just declare anybody as anti-Semitist just because they don't belong to that faith. She has worked more for the Jewish...
Okay, can you finish your thought, Ari?
That's what you are saying. That's what your leader is saying. That's what Kathleen Wynne is saying.
It is an anti-Semitic act. It is somebody who's promoting hatred, and it is
she has on the streets of Toronto fought for the harmony between Jewish and Muslim faith.
Mr.
You don't know. You have never done that.
I have a question, Mr. Naqvi.
Oh, you have no idea who I am then, sir.
I don't have no idea of who you are, but I have a very good idea of Mr. Doug Ford and his candidates who are being investigated by the police for the criminal allegations against them.
I have a question. If you can see the recent history of the PC party, there was a candidate who did not use polite words for our gay community and for our Muslim community, and she was gotten rid of. She was stripped of her PC candidacy. So why does an Andrea Horwath is stripping Ms. Riaz, very honorable Ms. Riaz, of her candidacy of the NDP?
Because the lady candidate that you are referring to from Progressive Conservatives in Mississauga Centre accepted those allegations, number one. And number two, those allegations could have been turned into hate offense. And that is why she was asked to leave, and that is why she left. So there is a difference.
No, she left.
There is a difference between having a point of view that I don't agree with, okay? I don't agree with any of these people saying any of these things if they have actually said it. I don't, and I completely disagree with A, B, C, and D that you're talking about. However, none of these are chargeable, indictable offenses in Ontario. That could have been perceived as she could have been charged with a hate crime. These are the two different. You need to distinguish between having a wrong, bad, filthy, dirty point of view, if they have that point of view, which I don't know if they do, and I completely disagree with that, and a criminal allegation that she could have been charged with hate crimes.
Ari, do you have to say something on this?
Yeah, I would say that inciting violence is a chargeable offense under the criminal justice code.
Go ahead, charge her. Why there is no investigation against her?
There was no charge against Ms. Granick Allen either.
There
was no charge against her. There was no point of somebody taking her to the Human Rights Tribunal. There was no criminal charges there. It was the call of a responsible leader who saw that their candidate was being irresponsible and disrespectful to Ontarians, no matter their stripe, color, creed, race, or religion. That is called responsibility. And I
those statements were there. Those statements were there even when she was a leadership candidate. Mr. Ford got her support, became a leader, let her run in the nomination, knowing all that. And once she became the candidate, and those statements were surfaced, only then he became responsible.
But she was stripped of her PC candidacy. She was. So, right, Ari?
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Sarah.
Yes, please go ahead. Finish your thought, Ari.
I was saying that you're saying Mr. Ford found out about all of this after the fact. Well,
no, he always knew that. He always knew that.
I am speaking, Mr. Nassim. I am speaking.
Yeah,
Mr. Ford found out about this, and then he took action. Ms. Horvath found out about this, and where is her action?
Where is her action?
I'm sorry, those are platitudes that fall on nothing but deaf ears.
Where is her action? Where is action of Andrea Horwath?
The action of
in stripping Ms. Riaz of her candidacy.
Why would she strip Ms. Riaz of her candidate when the allegation is baseless? The allegation is baseless. This allegation is baseless. The allegation of anti-Semitism has been denounced by the great Jewish community of Ontario, from across Ontario, people of Jewish faith, and I salute them, who have come out to defend Taslim Riaz, who has fought for the Jewish, Muslim, and other religion harmonies on the streets of Toronto.
But why she's posting memes which are questionable?
She's saying she has no knowledge of posting this. I can post something on your Facebook timeline. Don't you know that?
You can post it on her timeline, but it shows that it's posted by you, sir. This was posted by her on her own timeline.
I don't know. Let Facebook decide that. We have applied
to a screenshot of it. Let the public decide it. It's
and public will decide on June the 7th.
Some responsibility
public will decide on June the 7th.
Let him finish.
Rather than acting like a camper trying to just be friends with everybody. You know what? There's some tough choices that you need to be making as a premier, and I am terrified if we have an Andrea Horwath premier, because we are not going to have anything done here.
This is what corporate can. We have now corporate Ontario trying to fearmonger among the people of Ontario, just like they did in Alberta, and you need to remember what happened in Alberta. So we are looking at soon.
Okay, let him finish because you're overlapping him. Please.
So is NDP overlapping the PCs?
Right across this country who have done nothing but bankrupt their provinces. Look at British Columbia. Look at Alberta.
British Columbia and Alberta today lead in the GDP growth across Canada. Please go back and read. BC and Alberta lead in the GDP growth of
There's
Canada.
a lot of overlap. We are just going to turn the debate to, I hope so, less controversial ideas, less controversial corners. So my question to the panel is, what is that drives Ontario voters? If populism is truly a force in this Ontario campaign, do you agree that the winner of the Ontario election will be the one who gets the vote from the huge band of undecided voters still making up their minds? Ari, you can go first, please.
I don't know how many undecideds there are, to be honest. I think if you're looking at, on average, you're about under 10% undecided voter at this stage. I think a lot of people have made up their decision where they want to put their ballot, where they want to put their vote and their support. I think out of that 7 to 10% of undecided, it may sway from a minority to a majority, but I don't think it'll change the whichever party is successful.
What do you think, Ali?
I respect voters too much. I have run and lost in 5 elections. I And I agree with the voters. I was not good enough to be their representative. As I said earlier, looking at the polls is entertainment. And yes, you have fun. And yes, you know, people of NDP and PC go to bed happy. However, we should not forget three very important issues. Anybody who has ever canvassed or campaigned like you, Sarah, would know that Liberals have a very strong ground force. They have called in all their favors. They have called in all their touts, the vote touts and vote brokers that they have bought in the last 15, 16 years of their government. And these people are going to bring out these mortgaged votes or prostituted votes. So we should not forget that. Liberals, when it comes to get out the vote, are very strong. One. So we should not ever write off the tactics that Liberals employ at the time of getting the vote out. Secondly, when I knock doors, I see a significant number of undecided votes. But you're never sure if the person is actually divulging correct information to a stranger knocking at a door. So, but if you take their words, then there is, in my humble opinion, at least 1/3 of the voters that I have confronted are undecided. They may be leaning between Liberals or New Democrats. They may be leaning between conservatives and Liberals, especially now that we see Kathleen Wynne and Doug Ford both coming in, in cohorts to attack the NDP. So yes, that's making an impact. So I agree with the statement that undecided voters, once they decide, will decide the results on June the 7th. And there's one more thing. There will be a lot of people, and I hope I'm wrong, who will not be voting.
So what is the persuasion game by both the PC and the NDP to get hold of the undecideds? Ari, you can go first.
Well, I think in order to really get the undecided vote, it's going to be a matter of going out there and speaking with these people, actually speaking to them, and actually speaking to them in plain and simple language that doesn't have the political jargon about it, that doesn't have the spin about it, but just speaking to people and actually listening to what they have to say. And that goes for both the New Democrats, the Conservatives, and the Liberal Party. That's going to be how any of these parties are going to be able to capture these voters, is by speaking to them.
What do you think, Ali?
Completely agree with Mr. Laskin there. And once again, what my fear is that with the groundwork and the ground teams that Liberals have, they're already doing that. So are New Democrats, and I'm sure progressive Conservatives as well in quite a number of ridings. But honestly speaking, the reliance on a wave by New Democrats by itself will not do them. I mean, that's expecting a miracle to happen. Yes, it has happened in Alberta, but it may or may not repeat in Ontario because there was no Liberal party in Alberta. However, if you have a candidate and a campaign in a specific riding that can actually ride on that tide, ride on that wave, that may make a difference. So in order to win, the PCs and the New Democrats have to get the vote out and defeat the GOTV efforts of the Liberals. And that's an uphill task.
Okay, so connecting to GOTV and connected to undecideds, what is the role of New Canadians in this election? And who do they tend to vote? Whoever wants to take this.
I will.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes.
And it's the ethnic vote I'm talking about. Yeah.
In the Greater Toronto area, we still see that in Mississaugas and Scarboroughs, the New Canadian communities are still hoping for a revival of liberal campaign. They're not only hoping in their places of worship, they're actually praying for that. If they see the numbers going up, they may all return to liberal in droves. Now, the duty of the conservative and New Democrat candidates is to ensure that does not happen. Now, in Scarborough, for example, conservative campaign is very vibrant, very strong, very visible. However, the people, when I knocked doors there, the people who I thought would be inclined to vote conservatives had questions about the leadership. And I'm being very impartial and neutral here. Whereas the people who I thought would be inclined to vote New Democrats, they had issues about they're used to voting liberal. And you know, changing that habit of easy voting, no ideology involved, going to vote red, is a habit that needs to be broken. There is change in the air. Scarborough's, Mississauga's, conservatives should win ridings. Scarborough's, Mississauga's, New Democrats should win ridings, but they will have to actually work very hard to win those ridings and break those red bad habits.
What do you think, Ari, about the ethnic vote, so-called ethnic vote, new immigrants?
Well, I think that this is an important group of people. This is a group of people that are coming to Canada with a lot of different communities, a lot of different traditions, cultures, and what have you. A lot of them are now Canadians and are eligible to vote in our elections, which I think is wonderful. And I'd like to see more of these people become Canadians and be able to vote in our elections. That being said, I think it's very much going to rely on, or it's going to matter as to when they're going to be able to go out and vote. If you're looking at people that see this as a walkaway election and it's their party that they would be supporting are the winners, they're not coming out to vote, because the logic is going to be, well, why do I need to go out? Do they have enough support? If the reverse happens and it's not their party, I think that may drive them to go out to the polls a little bit more. I don't really know if I would say that you're seeing a strong liberal sway towards New Canadians or New Democrat or Tory. I think it's very much a hodgepodge. You have people from, like I said, all backgrounds, all traditions, all cultures, and all customs. That these are not ideologies that are unique to North America or unique to Western democracies. Liberalism, conservatism, and socialism are all common in all parts of the world.
Okay, so having created this good and very heated debate, we are going to enter into our rapid fire round, where I'm going to ask questions which maybe is a multiple choice, or it just needs a true and false or a yes or no. So the first question is to both of you, Ari and Ali. The winner of Ontario election is chosen by emotion or reason, personality, or policy. You can go first, Ali. You can choose either one or two or a mixture.
Personality and policy.
Okay. What is your answer, Ari, to the question?
I think it's both. I think it's a combination of emotion. I think it's a combination of personality and policy. It's the emotion that drives people to the poll, and it's the personality and the policy that gets the person elected. Okay.
Question number 2 of rapid fire is, undecided men lean towards Ford, while it's looking like slightly more undecided women are leaning towards Horwath. True or false? Ali?
It's true, and that's what I notice at the door.
Okay, what do you think, Ari?
I think that's true.
Okay. Question number 3. Who has the best dress sense, Doug Ford or Andrea Horwath or Kathleen Wayne?
Doug
Ari?
Ford. Doug Ford.
Okay, Ari, what do you think?
The dress best, what, sorry?
The question is of rapid fire, who has the best dress sense, Doug Ford, Andrea Horwath or Kathleen Wayne?
Oh, I'm going to go with Kathleen Wayne.
Okay. Question 4 is, who is the best speaker among the three? Ari?
I would say the Premier, Kathleen Wynne.
Okay, what do you think, Ali?
Andrea Horwath.
Of course you're going to say that.
Absolutely, because I've heard her since she was a counselor in Hamilton.
So my last question is, have you guys already voted in advance polls?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and that wraps up our very heated debate on what is NDP doing and what is PC doing. They are in a tie, and I would like you to give a conclusionary remark. Ari, I'll start with you. Give us a little conclusion of what are we going to look at on June the 7th, only 8 days left behind. What are we going to see, Ari?
Well, the first thing that I would say, and I would hope my friend on the other side would agree with me, that we need people to go out and vote and cast your ballot. It's your democratic right. And use this right. There's people all across the world that don't enjoy this privilege and this right. We should be taking advantage of it. So I would encourage every single person, no matter your political stripe, if you don't like any of the candidates, that's fine too. Go out and spoil your ballot, but just make sure that you get your ballot in that ballot box. It's incredibly important, and the future of our democracy and the future and the stability of our democracy really depends on that. On the partisan side of things, I would say we've had liberal government for 15 years. We've seen mismanagement and bad spending and throwing money at problems to try to solve the problem. If you thought Kathleen Wynne was doing a good job, you're going to love Andrea Horwath.
Okay, over to you, Ali.
Thank you very much. I agree. We need to vote. There was a study a long time ago which said at least one person every day loses his or her life for the right to vote across in this world of ours. So we are so fortunate to have this right where we can make that choice. And what is the choice before the Ontarians today? The choice is between the Liberals who have nothing but scandals to show and selling our private assets as public assets as Hydro One to private investors. We also see that that's same going to happen where federal Liberals have bought the Trans-Canada project, which may or may never be built. So we see a Liberal brand throwing away our money on things that really, in a lot of situations, don't make sense. We have the choice to vote for Doug Ford's Progressive Conservatives, and we see that we still don't have a platform to see. No allegations against Mr. Ford, but unfortunately, a number of candidates are under police criminal investigations from the PCs. When it comes to Andrea Horwath and the NDP...
No, ex-candidates.
No, 20 of the current candidates are being investigated by the police for buying stolen property from the person who breached 407 data in the first place.
Is that true? I don't want to get into the debate.
That's not actually true. There's
well, you may not agree with it, but you may not agree with it. But this was no. But this was my conclusion. This was my conclusion. This was my conclusion, and just like Doug Ford does not have a platform to show.
No, let him finish. Okay, Ari, you have to start again.
That's a very big difference.
Yeah, Ari, okay, again, please do not overlap. Please let him give a chance. Ari, is that true that
in any debate you don't let people interject in their closing arguments? And if you are doing so, then that means
I'm just asking a question,
well,
and I was not sure. I was not sure what's going on, and you can again do your the last remark. But I was not. I don't know if it's true or not. So that is why I'm asking Ari. Ari,
so
is it true?
How come Ari would know that it's true or not when a person, an academic like you, do not? Because
he's my analyst. He's my analyst here.
Well, I thought I was your analyst too.
Okay,
just
so
read the biased conservative media out there. Read the independent media out there who has clearly said that.
Okay, Ari, then Can we give him a chance, Mr. Naqvi?
Absolutely. My closing remark is vote for Andrea Horwath, vote for the truth, vote for people who actually will not sell the public assets. The Conservatives and the Liberals together sold public assets. The 30% of healthcare has been sold, privatized. They're looking at the Conservatives and Kathleen Wynne's Liberals will sell your TTC, your healthcare. If you want to fight, there is a flyer in your pocket from the NDP, which is called the health card. The NDP under Tommy Douglas fought across Canada and got us the right to universal health care. The Liberals opposed it then, the Liberals oppose it now, the Conservatives oppose it then. They're going to sell your health care. Vote for the NDP, save your health care.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Naqvi. Ari, do you wanna say anything?
You know what, in the interest of being fair and transparent to Mr. Naqvi, I think that I've already said what I need to say. If people want to learn actual facts, then I suggest they look at actual news reports and not hear spin. But that's all for me. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Naqvi, to come on my TV show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Ari Laskin, on the phone to participate in Power Dilemmas at TAG TV. This forum is a very democratic forum, very impartial without taking any sides, and we give a chance to our viewers to understand the political dynamics of Canada, political dynamics of Ontario, what are the parties, and how to use your democratic right, which is voting, because a huge populations living in Ontario come from countries where they have not seen democracy. So again, viewers, my last remark is to use your democratic right properly by really going deep down into the roots of the parties, researching, know your candidates, and use your vote, your democratic right wisely. With this, I would like to sign off. Ciao.